Welcome back to Obscured Titan, another essay about the Megatronic legacy. With about more than a few characters being discussed in their own videos, it would make sense to discuss a character who has been revealed to return. And this would also be because this is Shantae's 20th anniversary, which makes even more sense to give her some attention as well. What's different this time is that Shantae's place in my works will take more of a movie Knuckles approach, something from the second Sonic movie. Sources will come from the Shantae fandom wiki for citation, and will be worded out differently like with Flan's last time. I will take a slightly different approach in this essay by starting out with the pre-Pirates Curse trilogy, aka the original trilogy, the post-Curse, Half-Genie Hero, and Seven Sirens, and take a brief summary of Mortal Brothers 2019 as well as discuss different aspects that will take place in Megatronic Legacy. There will also be some heavy spoilers ahead, so be very wary. That being said, ret to go! It all begins with Shantae fending off against Risky Boots at Scuttletown, located in Sequin Land. Despite her best efforts, the half-genie couldn't stop her from stealing the steam engine. Determined, she ventured throughout Sequin Land to battle bosses, race against Best Zombie, unlocking secrets, and eventually coming toe-to-toe with Risky herself. It ended with Shantae defeating Risky Boots and ascent to the Genie Realm. She would end up being a pure genie, but may never see her friends again. Knowing this, Shantae declines the genie's request and remains a half-genie. Risky's revenge commences, and the Pirate Queen takes the genie lamp after crashing into MMXIX convention. This time, Shantae gets fired by Mayor Scuttlebutt. She ventures outside of Scuttletown to find the 3 gemstones before Risky could find them. While she was doing so, Roddytops and her brothers, Abner and Poe, were secretly working with Risky. Near the end of the game, Risky betrays Roddy and fights Shantae. This resulted to using the lamp in hopes of imprisoning Shantae, but it instead took her half-genie magic away, and created negative Shantae. The game ends with Shantae escaping Risky's hideout and mourns over her loss of magic. Pirate's Curse revolves around a pack of dark magic spreading throughout Sequin Land and affects Tinkerbats, which in turn turns them into Cacklebats in the process. Prior to this, Shantae fights off against the Ammo Barons, but as it turns out, their leader, Ammo Baron, gets to take control of Scuttletown, and Shantae can't do anything about it. She bumps into Risky, and this time as an ally to find dark magic and get her weapons back. As the game progresses, we get bits of lore revolving around Shantae's parents and other important factors that build it up. Near the end of the game, Pirate Master awakens and captures Risky. Shantae goes after the villain and fought at Scuttletown. It ends with the pirate being vanquished. Shantae's half-genie powers return, and Risky gets to go on her own ways. Throughout this trilogy, Shantae is portrayed as someone who is naive and has a great sense of justice to serve those in need, chasing away villains who would harm Scuttletown. Despite all of this, she is very shy and afraid of the town's civilians who will find out about her half-genie's status. She deeply cares for her uncle as well as her friends, Sky and Bolo. It would seem as if Shantae is passionate, righteous, and considerate, though naive and headstrong at times. This characterization is carried over in post-Pirate's Curse, with some new stuff coming along. While Half-Genie Hero is more or less of a retelling of past work with some new characters and plots, Seven Sirens focuses on her meeting the Half-Genies. It wasn't until during a celebration took place is when all the Half-Genies are captured, with Shantae being the exception. She must rescue them and uncover the secrets of the island her friends are on, while Sky is slacking off in the process.
Come on. The sooner we check in, the sooner we can relax.
Not much is needed to be said about her character in this one, since Shantae's character remains the same as usual. One thing is regarding Risky Boots and the Sirens. Throughout the story, Risky has been looking all over Paradise Island for its secrets and eventually getting it to being a flying fortress. Near the end, however, the Queen Siren tricked Risky into doing her bidding and used her up for her powers, and the other half-genies as well, to become more beautiful and powerful. This is something we'll look into later when I discuss Shantae's post-Norkarchy role, and I'll touch on Sonic 2 briefly. To discuss this segment, we'll specifically look at the original 2019 trilogy. It starts with Shantae going into the Mortal Brothers tournament alongside Nathan Drake, Ratchet, and Clank. They come across a variety of fighters, some more powerful than the rest, to win. Aziel takes place a few months after Shantae defeats Bowser and are caught up in a Fiox tournament set up by Megacon to destroy their enemies. However, Shantae prevails, and not only becomes a full genie, but also seeing her mother in person, and freeing her. Ragnarok has Shantae's crew fending off against Vizon's Black Dragon clan to finish him off once and for all. However, Unicron from the classic Mortal Brothers timeline shows up and joins forces with Raiden from MK11 to devastate the universe. The most common traits Shantae maintained throughout the trilogy was a sense of justice and compassion, but also having more honor as she takes the role of a leader, leading her allies into a battle and thus not only saving Earth but also Smash Realm and Cybertron. Her desire to freeing her mother and getting her powers back prior to meeting Megacon in their first battle are her motives. Initially, after Vizon fused her magic and her mother into a sword he had before leaving it, Shantae fell into a despair similar to the end of Risky's Revenge. The difference here is that it involves her mother being part of the Horde transformation. This puts a lot of pressure on her as Shantae seeks help from both Pikachu and Jade Kurikon to get through her struggles and avenge herself of Vizon's wrongdoing. The first part we'll look at is her prologue into the Shirai Ryu Crusaders. Taking place shortly after Velvet Retaliation in 1979, Shantae finishes her belly dancing shift by day hours. Let's take 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. for example. Then comes home before 7 p.m. to start on her hunting at midnight. She and her uncle Mimic discuss on finding food for incoming weeks regarding a global stagflation. Don't think so, Carter. Shantae is compelled to help keep her uncle and friends in town well fed. However, she discovers a cave with a beaming light inside. There, it has a sword like no other. It had scorpion pincers and a flame bulb for its end. As it spoke, it called Shantae by her name, and proceeds to call her daughter afterwards. Shantae was skeptical at first, not seeing what it was, and concluded that her parents were killed in the darkness of the Korean War. Shantae is visited by two mysterious swordsmen and reveals Rokuro and Ryoko. They are members of the Shirai Ryu clan to assist Shantae. They discuss the Godzilla embryo was initially in Iran and taken by the elites. However, Velvet's involvement got it to Mesolika first, only to sending it to Yal Helrix before being arrested in the Genie Realm. Taking all of this in, Shantae was still wondering what happened to her mother if her father was alive, as a sword. Hanzo Hisashi explains that her mother is alive, but is taken to Yal Helrix, and is lost in the lowest rings of hell. Becoming desperate, Shantae swears on going to Yal Helrix herself to not only finding the Godzilla embryo, but also rescuing her mother, taking the latter as top priority over the former. The group also explained that the Lin Kuei are planning to go to Yal Helrix as well, claiming it for their own use, either if they're working with the Chinese Communist Party to destroy their Asian enemies, or a different ulterior motive. They go through a portal which takes them to the Genie Realm. It's revealed that Yal Helrix is beneath the realm itself, a giant asteroid mind you, and travel there via portal. Upon arrival, Sector and Bihan made their way to the gate, and Shantae's group followed them quickly, and quietly. The term Yal Helrix was derived from two words of the same afterlife, Hell in the Judeo-Christian faith, and Jahannam in Islam. Instead of taking place beneath the Earth, it would be in a giant asteroid roughly 3 times our planet's size. The layers are similar to Dante's Inferno, from limbo to treachery. To save time, we'll have a video regarding Yal Helrix for another time. Continuing onwards, Shantae, Ryoko, and Rokuro make their way to the entrance into Yal Helrix, where they see a glimpse of the Sword of Vector Convoy, a giant weapon pierced into the planet. They ask why it's there, and proceed onwards without a solid answer. Shantae's crew enter a boat where Bihan's group sneak into it as damned souls in the underworld are judged to be, ranging from humans to Prometheans to anthropomorphic animals and dragons. Through each circle Shantae's team enters, visions of the Korean War get into her head, given her connections with Hanzo and Kuika as parents. Having to bear its horrors, her determination stagnates. Hanzo assures Shantae that she and her allies will prevail, no matter the severity of the vision's horrors. As the group advance, Bihan freezes his way through the circles, beating Shantae to the race initially. He reveals that he'll use the Godzilla embryo as a weapon for his clan and destroy his enemies. Previously, I mentioned Sector having a part in Velvet Retaliation in my writing episode of Velvet Crow. Now is the time to discuss it. Sector was sent by Bihan to check in with Nazi Norkan Arbiter for the egg. In truth, Sub-Zero wanted to betray the Soviet Norks and the Unicronic elites. It didn't go well since Velvet Crow was able to steal the Godzilla egg, but ran into various enemies in which it tends to go back and forth. The Godzilla egg was originally in Velvet's hands, or at least her right hand, upon Mesolika's betrayal, and got it away into the Genie Realm, only to have lost it in the process. One would assume that after taking a spaceship to the realm, The egg flew into the pockets of Yalharix and got stranded down there. Upon arriving to the 5th circle, Shantae confronts a giant monster which was called Phlegius in Dante's Inferno. No name was finalized for this interpretation yet, but it would be something similar, such as climbing her way to the beast. Shantae becomes more desperate to accomplish her task, more so for rescuing her mom than the Godzilla egg. Hanzo warns her not to let Yalharix's darkness get to her mind too much. She could lose herself spiritually and would not be any better than his rival Bi-Han. Ryoko and Rokuro try to keep her emotions in check, but often clash the further they go down the circles. Arriving to the last 2 circles, Shantae finds out about her mother being in the 8th ring of Yalharix, a chartreuse bottle on a pedestal. She rushes towards it as demonic Decepticons seized after Ryoko and Rokuro. Before she can use it, earthquakes begin to crumble the circle. The Shirai Ryu Crusaders fall into the deepest level of hell. Treachery, rather than being filled with fire, is ice. Shantae and her allies proceed deeper into the circle to find the Godzilla egg. With a lamp in her hands, Shantae could not wait to use it. However, Hanzo reminds her to stay focused and get the egg first. Upon arriving to the lowest point of the 9th circle, there stood Megatronic's convoy, the fallen convoy himself. He's a character deserving of his own video, but to make this long story short, Megatronic was originally known as Luciferia's convoy, the most beautiful and beatific of convoys. Also note is that I'm using convoy rather than prime. Again, a video for another time. But Luciferius' hubris got him to challenge both Primus and Unicron and led a rebellion. Thus, he was hurled into an asteroid where Yalharix was created. Also down there, Shantae confronts Sub-Zero and Sector as they stood opposite of each other for the egg. She fights Bi-Han while her 2 allies fought against the cyborg. The scene ends with Shantae defeating them. However, Megatronic's convoy is loosening his waist out of the pocket that keeps him in hell. Hanzo tells Shantae she needs to stab Bi-Han and stuck him to the ground where both of their powers can freeze the fallen convoy from escaping. She relents on doing the deed, but ends up doing so anyways. With no other way out, she summons her mother out of the lamp and wishes they were out of hell. I consider carrying over the 3 wishes rule to the lore, mainly for the chain genies. The freed ones are debatable, and will be written down in another time. Moving forward, Shantae and her mom are last seen in Sequin Land. She looks around to see if Ryoko and Rokuro are here, but no trace of them. Kuoka explains that during their escape, her magic must have been interrupted by Megatronic's convoy's intervention, which means the 2 samurai were transported elsewhere. Shantae feels conflicted to use her mom's 2 remaining wishes because she wants to use one of them to free her. Kuoka informs her that if she frees her with a 2nd wish, she may not get to use a 3rd wish, and implies that she won't be confined to the master anymore. Not only have Ryoko and Rokuro disappeared, but her father's in Yalharix in her mother's place. She reserves her mother's wishes and finds a portal to the genie realm shortly after. It is 1980. Ripto and his 2 minions reside in Riptorix, building a portal to the genie realm. However, upon success, Shantae emerges with her mother's lamp. She asks where Ripto's got the orbs. He replies that he's got them from the midsection of the giant pillar in space where Riptorix and Mystica are connected. He could show her the way. Before 1981, Ripto, Kuoka, and Shantae meet at the mid-center ring of the genie realm to prepare giving life to the Godzilla egg. The creature had the body of a T-Rex, as I previously stated in my Velvet Crow video. It's a Zyglak with Godzilla's dorsal fins. In 1981, Jin Spectre Godzilla was born. Empowered by a subsource of light energon with genie magic, Godzilla grows up twice the size of his 1954 original. It was glowing white eyes, much like GMK Godzilla. Godzilla is another topic for another video in different time, so let's keep going. Shantae and Ripto send Godzilla to Earth starting with China, but the goal was to find the demonic key to Yalharix in Las Vegas, Nevada, where Area 51 is located. Shantae has no intentions to use up her mother's wish count, nor go through Yalharix in another round. It's been said that the key itself could easily get her down to Hell's 9th circle and reclaim Hanzo Hisashi. This catches Spyro, Flan, and Conquer's attention and are sent to stop the kaiju as quickly as they could through a US military ship. But while they fought Godzilla, Shantae relents on using her mother's wishes. However, given the situation, she uses it to transport them to the genie realm, and that they would not interfere with the Jin Spectre. Shantae tells Ripto and his Riptocs to keep Spyro's team from reaching the central plane of the Genie Realm and undo her task, though he secretly plans to betray her once they get the key. This is where the Sonic 2 plot inspiration comes in. In that film, Knuckles seeks to find the Master Emerald to avenge his people from a war between Longclaw's clan and the Echidna's tribe. Knuckles comes off as a brutish, honorable, and powerful warrior who cares for his people. He ends up working with Eggman to find the Master Emerald, only to be betrayed in the end. This would have a similar effect. While Shantae wouldn't come off as brutish as Knuckles, her care for her family and friends would be apparent, and why she'd value her partnership with Ripto. He wouldn't see it as much in comparison, since he's after a much bigger fish to fry. Nearing the end of Awakening of Godzilla, Spyro and his crew make it through the Genie Realm and defeated the Riptocs to confront Shantae, just moments before Godzilla could get the key to Yalharix. The heroes activated a portal to bring the monster back to the Genie Realm. A battle ensues and all fought. While that's going on, Ripto discovers another means by taking Kuika's lamp. Shantae finds out about this shortly after, and both her and Spyro were finishing their fight and realized that the little Riptoc was going to double-cross her. However, Conqueror shoots the Riptoc away and catches the lamp. Alternatively, Ripto discovers a much more powerful relic or being than Kuika that can give him the means to end this conflict. And his conflict with MMXIX. Crush and Gulp returned in his aid to take what could be King Kreton's emblem. King Kreton's emblem is a relic which is used to keep the Genie Realm intact. Otherwise, taking it would make it powerless. But here's two takes I would have for how Shantae's part could end, which could deviate slightly from what I wrote last time in Velvet. 1. Godzilla goes to Yalharix after a massive hole popped out near Vector Convoy's sword and hurled down there. Shantae remains in the Genie Realm, frees her mother, but results to a magical shutdown, as stated from King Kreton's relic being taken away, across the realm itself. This would catch MMXIX's attention and get Etna to investigate. 2. Both Shantae and Kuika join Godzilla in Hell and journey to the realm. They were able to breeze through it more easily due to the monster's sheer size and power, but the magical shutdown would still happen. The member of a belly dancing club by day and huntswoman at night. Shantae Hisashi lives with her uncle in a town called Sequin Land located in Turkey. She is the daughter of her genie mother, Kuika, and long-lost father and grandmaster of the Shiai Ryu, Hanzo Hisashi. Just recently, after collecting food for herself and uncle, she discovered a shard of light energon, leading to a mysterious cavern. Shantae discovered a mystical sword, plunging it into the blade. Hanzo Hisashi's soul empowered it and gifted her with armor that once belonged to him. With Scorpion's powers and armor gifted to Shantae, she meets Ryoko and Rokuro as allies to enter the gates of Yalharix in search of the Godzilla embryo, defeat the Lin Kuei, and rescue her genie mother. Shantae's had a bit of an interesting history in gaming. Whether you like or hate her, it's a series that has high potential to having a great lore despite its current state, as it's apparent in my videos. While Mortal Brothers 2019 is a good entry to represent Shantae, this project will also do some justice. Now that her part's finished here, Ripto, Godzilla, and 2 ninjas, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, will have their writing episodes in the coming weeks of 2022. My goal is to get at least roughly a fourth of the complete roster looked into before getting everything done. It's Obscure Titan saying thanks for watching, feel free to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Ripto go!